So welcome to the BZ-75. This thing obviously has rockets, and I have not featured it on my channel yet. It is, well, it's a new tank that I bought recently over Christmas. I actually used the Vinnie Jones discount to be able to get it. So, the thing is with this tank, it's good, but at the same time, because the 60TP exists, it's kind of annoying. And it's really very, very slow if you're not using the boosters. So you kind of have to be using the boosters to get into position, at least in somewhat of a quick fashion. But I mean, once you're in position, as long as the gun behaves, which it can not do, you're okay. So it's kind of a vehicle where it's fine, but no one's going to say that this is OP or insanely good. I mean, for some people they'll like it more than the 60TP, but I think overall the 60TP is a better vehicle than this thing. Interesting to me that we're actually still spotting this E100. I mean, sure, I'll take it. Man, it's so nice when you get rounds like this where you can actually take a good selection of rounds. Because AP rounds are so much better for shooting the sides of tanks rather than heat. If I had heat at this range, like with what I was shooting at, it might not even pen any of these shots. But then if it's APCR, you're kind of just wishing that you had APCR loaded. Do I want to go over this side? The thing is, there's so many tank destroyers that you've yet to be spotted. I don't want to go that side, actually. No. What I might do is zoom over this side and see what we can do. The other problem that this tank faces is you can run HP turbo rammer, which is kind of like the optimal setup. But the thing is, if you play it without a stab, it's not so nice. It's not such a nice tank to play if you aren't using a stab. And if you're not using a turbo, you don't get the big benefit of the rocket boosters. So you're then stuck in that kind of situation where, I mean, what's the point of playing this tank if you're not going to use a turbo on it? What is this? Do you see what I mean about this gun? It's fine earlier, and then other times, it's not going to hit anything. It's so annoying. I mean, hopefully this E3 shoots at our E3 in a second. That would be very good. Side scraping in this vehicle is not amazing, as you can probably tell. It can side scrape, but it's less than optimal. And even though that this tank has a pike nose, it's actually kind of troll. Because if you look at it, it is super annoying to actually pen, because it's not a fully, like, full-fledged pike nose like you would get with an IS-7 or something. I know that I can shoot through this guy's tracks right here and pen, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. The nice thing is that we obviously have the alpha damage to be able to track him in one shot. Man, facing E3s is like the worst thing. Like, look how dumb it is that he can just sit there in the open. And like 50% of the time, maybe even more than that, they'll just bounce his lower plate. Maybe we can try and bait a shot into it, I'm not sure. There we go. Very nice. Obviously, with heat, that doesn't happen. He's getting ready to shoot me now. I mean, if I was that E3, I'd be very annoyed. Come on, Mr. E3. Come on. You can do it. I believe in you. Look how many tank destroyers are at the back of the map. That's so annoying. Well, I mean, this game is over. There's not really too much we can do now. Use booster. Hopefully we can get a shot in. and that's it. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. I can't turn. There we go. I mean, 3.4, it's not great, but at the same time, what are you going to do? The game's over in however many minutes that was. As you can see, as soon as you go off the boost, you're pretty slow. I know there's the V4. I mean, hitting the V4 is going to be a big, big problem. Do we get the spotting? We do not get the spotting. I mean, we get that spotting, but... yeah. Apply. I mean, we fired 10 shots. 7 of them hit, 5 pen. It's not too bad. I mean, obviously, 2 of them at a lower plate of an E3 and they both miss. But there you go, that's the nature of this gun. As you can tell, I am using turbo, rammer, and stab with the directive of safe stowage because this thing does like getting ammo racked. And unfortunately, yes, you can get a field mod which stops that from happening, or at least lessens the likelihood of it happening. But it's number 8. So you have to go through the entire field mods just to get the field mod that you want. On the plus side, it does come with a decent amount of health. But I mean, it really means nothing if you just get ammo racks. So ideally, I would like to run the experimental hardening. But again, like I said, you just, for randoms, it's not really something that I would recommend to people to do. If you're in a random, you want a rammer, you want a stab, and you probably want a turbo. Like, there's no real space for any other equipment choices. And you just hope and pray that you don't get detonated. Well, we're now in Malinovka, and you may think that this is great. However, the 277 will probably beat me to the hill. Because, as you can tell, look, I'm faster than him. And then my booster runs out. And then he's pretty much going past me, and then I need to keep going. So I do need to use all my boosts, basically. Look at it! The booster on this thing is a real big gimmick. I'm not gonna lie. It's a real gimmicky kind of tank. Because the booster doesn't really make much sense. Because the tank is so bloody slow once the booster runs out. And if you're in a faster tank like the 277, you're not going to be that far behind what the BZ is. And this is with a turbo. And the turbo actually increased the boost to go from 45 to 52. So you get a massive increase from using the boost. I mean, that would have been pretty nice if that hit. At least we're on the hill, though. We still have 1 boost left. We're not going to use that. We're just going to save it. But all the while that I'm saving it, they're slowly getting back up to the hill behind me. Let's see now if we can get some shots on people. Oh, hello, Tiggy. Unfortunately, there is not a clean shot on this 277. Tiggy, come here. I'm a bit worried about going hold down with this, to be honest. Wait a minute. We're gonna do a tactical maneuver with Tiggy. Come here. Say hello. Oh. Go. Right, there we go. Cat has been dispatched. Yes, being hold down in this tank raises the other issue, which is Cupola number 1, Cupola number 2, and Cupola number 3. All of which are lovely to play with and against. So you really don't want to be hold down for too long. Hello. He seems happy enough. There we go. We can try and block it with the gun as best as we can. Oh, Mr. Mouse. Hello, my friend. Bear with me. I have 2 seconds. There we go. It's 650 alpha on this tank. Not that you would know from the shots that I've just done. Mouse? I mean, this should be okay though. Maybe we can detonate them. Wait, not the mouse. Maybe we can like detonate you? Usually you like to get detonated as well. Suppose this is why they're quite similar in that regard. I am a little bit worried about the fact that we only really have our 277 with us now. One to his roof. 62p health, 1000, not great. But unfortunately I can't even run. Put one into him, hopefully we can bounce this 60 TP. I think this is going to be over pretty soon. Try and kill the mouse. That's a bad shot. That's such a bad shot, man. Now I'm stunned, so I can't really do much. Get him killed. But yeah, you bounced. I go up from this to try and get this guy killed on the 277. Maybe I can get him out of my way. No. He's not enough. I mean, he dies though, so it's not too bad. But I mean, my team's lost everywhere else on the map, so yeah. I mean, we had our 705 and VZ go down there. Yeah, you should never go down the bottom here, like ever. As soon as you go down the bottom, you end up just dying, because unless you have like a lot more than just a BZ-75 and a 277, you're going to get rushed and dead. Like, instantly, like that. So, the only time that you should ever go this way is if you have loads of people on this, like, ridgeline up here. Because, I mean, what are they going to do? If they push down into this, I mean, there's nothing they can do. Because if you have people up the top, let's say that this 277 and 705 are up the top here, and they push down into this, they're then just in a complete crossfire. Because no matter what they look at, they're going to get shot by someone. So, they're just in the bowl of death. Well, I mean, 3.8, not too much we can do, really. Yeah, the VZ, our heavies just didn't really do much. I mean, at least we didn't get ammo racked. It's the plus side. Let's take off the turbo, and we'll put on HP, wherever my HP is. See, we now have 2,830, and I believe, yes, you can use the right-hand field mod on this because it gets good enough terrain distances. So it makes no sense to choose the left or leave it blank, because more health for the tracks, the better. Now, let's see how this goes. Obviously, with a turbo, we're only going to reach 45 kilometers an hour, or 44, roughly 45. It's so much slower compared to the 52. So, especially like, if we had on Malinovka HP instead of turbo, we wouldn't have got to the hill anywhere close to what we did in that last game. So, you know, you kind of need turbo on this thing. So there's no... I mean, I suppose on smaller maps like this, it doesn't matter too much, because actually getting there, you know, getting to this location isn't like a necessity to be really, really fast. But most of the time, you kind of want to have turbo because it's what makes this tank. Is the 277 going to try and push across? mean, he could have already done it. Let's use the boost and just hope that the 277 hasn't actually crossed. If he has, I'm in a lot of trouble. Good, he hasn't. This is actually good so far. Should just load heat here. Why would I withdraw? I mean, all my team needs to do is just support me from this position and it's fine. We'll load heat for this 277. I don't even have the gun depression for that. RIP. I need like an extra degree of gun depression here. It's really annoying. Carnarvon's pushed up, which is good. Everything is fine from that angle. I love it when you hit a cupola and it does no pen, no damage, nothing. Critical hit. Thank you, Wargaming. Interesting. Why did the Carnarvon not just sit there safe? This is unbelievable. Thank you. Finally. I mean, he should be dead. Get my loader back. This guy should be dead for doing this. Okay. I'm just auto-aiming just to try and make it harder for them to hit me. Because that way you're always then pointing your gun at them, even if you're not actually looking at them. He has one more shot. Grab my gun back. What I need to do is to try and kill this 277 in a second. I know that that guy's on reload for the next 20 seconds-ish. Leo 1's coming to help. I need to try and kill this guy as fast as I can. Although I think he might just die anyway. That was a bad shot, but it still hits Cupola. Alright, go back to AP rounds. And we'll just use boosters as much as we can to get back over to the other side of the map. We need to get at least like one more shot of damage out of this. At the very, very least. But you can see how slow it is without a turbo. And without the boosts. It's super slow. What is this Leo 1 doing? Why does he now cross over when I'm... I don't understand that. Like, he crossed over to get safe, and then just crossed over again. Okay. Oh, we got an extra shot in. That was a bit of a lag. Judas is going to finish him off. ISU is a one-shot. Maybe we can finish off this Leo PTO. Not too bad. There's a lot of like bullshit shots, I'm not gonna lie. The shots that just should have penned that didn't. Especially on that 277. And apply. Yes, I'd love to use that so I can get some more view range for free. Thank you. At least I now have over the maximum spotting range. So the BZ-75. Yeah, it's just a mid-tier tank. It's nothing exceptional. It's okay. The gun is, again, very derpy sometimes. And you wish that you had a better gun. And even with stab, it still blooms out quite a fair amount. But it's definitely not a bad tank. It's definitely not OP. Ideally, you would want to be running turbo with this. In randoms, you can probably get away with it. But if you're in competitive, especially in Onslaught, I'd recommend that you put on the experimental hardening tier 3. It has to be tier 3, otherwise it just won't work. And with the tier 3, you need to have the first field mod with the right-hand field mod. And then number 8 as well with the left-hand field mod to be the most competitive you can be. And then you go with like experimental turbo tier 3 if you have it, and then a rammer. And then that is probably the best setup for this tank if you want to play it in Onslaught. Which it does work very, very well in Onslaught. Which is one of the reasons why I got it. But for randoms, I mean, you can pick and choose. Most of the time you'll probably want to have the turbo. But on smaller maps, sure, the hardening can work out. Either way, I definitely back my statement that I said about this tank during the tech tree tier list. It is definitely mid-tier. It's nothing higher, nothing lower. It has its good things and it has its bad things. The turbo and, well, the boosters are definitely a gimmick on this tank. Yes, they do work, but like I'd rather just play a tank that doesn't have turbo or doesn't have the boosters and it's just faster or a little bit less faster than the BZ-75, like the 277. Let me know your thoughts down below and I'll see you in the next video.